crooked.
It is not.
It is crooked. Oh, now it's less. It's the same.
Still crooked?
You broke it. Hey, you guys. This is Dr. Garrett and Holly Hajaj.
Hi, everybody.
I thought you were going to correct your name.
No, I'm over that.
All right, fine.
Okay.
So we got to figure out how many episodes we can do where I correct your name before we got to move on to a new stick.
How about 0?
It's too late for 0.
Okay.
All right. So this is the Dr.
Hey, Trish. Hi, Heather. And go. Okay. So this show is called Dr. G and the Boss. That's our new name, if you guys didn't know. And take it away.
I thought it was Dr. G, the boss, and Holly.
It's the boss and this freak over here.
I thought it was Bossy, Holly, and the Dr. G show.
Hi,
Boss,
Jan. Hi, Sarah.
Mm.
Right.
All right. So last week, well, this whole summer, so what we've been doing for the last few talks is me and Holly, or is it Holly and I?
Holly and I.
That doesn't sound right.
I have been doing this, so you would say Holly and I.
I was educated in Texas, so it doesn't matter. Holly and I?
Yes.
Okay. Holly and I. What about I and Holly?
I'd like to hear what you have to say after that.
Holly and I have been doing a wellness challenge for this summer where we go through and talk about the different parts of kind of patient treatment plan, and we're doing it. So you guys are watching kind of me go through this, Holly go through this, and then you guys are free to join in, and you guys are supposed to be filling out your sheets too. And what we want to do is just kind of collaborate together and kind of join in together to try to get healthy together. And the nice thing is it's all free, what we're doing for you guys. And, you know, it's very simple and sustainable. And so that's always our goal.
Is there anyone out there who is doing the challenge with us currently? If so, let us know. If you're not on with us live, let us know after the fact, too.
That's Claudia Salinas.
Yeah.
Went to high school with her.
Oh, cool. Hey, Claudia. Hey, Jackie.
She runs all the time.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Please share our show if you know anybody who's having health problems and wants some good advice.
Yeah, so as we go through this is interactive, so kind of let me know what you're thinking, if you guys have questions. And even after this, we go back and we try to answer all the questions. Sometimes it takes a little bit because there's been a couple where we have like 100 different comments. And we have to go through and try to answer those. So don't worry, it'll get answered. Hopefully during the show you guys can ask kind of interesting things as we go through. So I've been posting my pictures, and I think we all know Holly hasn't. And so I've been keeping it very simple. And you know what I've been very surprised with is that, why are you acting on shut? Is that I've been posting very simple things, and I really thought they were pretty meaningless, like it was just like not a big deal. And a lot of people have posted that they really enjoy the post because it shows how simple and uncomplicated basically it doesn't have to be all that complicated, you know. And that's one thing I teach my patients and try to stress with them is don't get lost in the complications to where you'll just quit. Just eat a cucumber or eat a bell pepper or eat a banana, you know, those kind of things.
Well, what's interesting too is that when you make it simple and less complicated, it also is less expensive.
Yes.
There's a misnomer that it's more expensive to eat healthy and to be healthy. So
let's talk about that for a minute, because Dan asked me last week if we could talk about that, and that's a pretty big concept as far as, you know, it's eat fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, berries, legumes, greens, very little meat, you know. And Dan had said, is there a possibility of like talking about how to eat healthy? They always say, oh my gosh, it's so expensive to eat healthy, and probably a lot of you guys will agree. And so one year when I was teaching anatomy and physiology, some of you guys might have been in that class. What we did was we said we did I think a health documentary, and watched that, maybe Food Inc. or Super Size Me, and they all said, "Oh, it's Dr. Garrett's too expensive to eat healthy." So what we did was I made it a extra credit assignment, and so with that, what we did is you had to feed a family of 4, because in I think it was Food Inc. there was like a family of 4 that they had to eat fast food every day because off the dollar menu. And so we said for $12, so, or no, it was $16, I think, $16. Can you feed a family of 4 for $48 or less a day? Which is crazy. Of course you can, right? But everybody's like, no, it's too expensive. So, and it can't be toxic, it has to be healthy, all these kind of things. So I gave them all these criteria. And guess what? There's either 50 or 100 students in the class, and all of them were able to create menus for a whole week that were healthy and dirt cheap when it came to extra credit.
It's doable.
Yeah.
It's doable.
So, if you think about like the countries that are the healthiest and happiest, longest living populations, they don't eat the most expensive foods. And really, it's your most expensive foods are going to be lots of meat, which, Americans eat 8 times more meat than they did 50 years ago. And a lot of like organic stuff and foo-foo stuff, that's where things get expensive. But if the base of your diet is lots of like staples like rice and beans, and then lots and lots of seasoning, flavors, herbs, spices, roots, then everything becomes very, very potent and flavorful, but dirt stinking cheap. I made that rice dish the other day that I posted, and it was probably like $3 worth of food, and it lasted 3 meals. So that was crazy cheap.
Yeah.
And there's a good book called What the World Eats. And in that book, so it's a time, if you look up on Google, Time Magazine, What the World Eats. It's really cool because it's about a week's worth of food for each family in 80 different countries around the world. And so all the families standing there and all the food that they have. But in the book, it'll talk about how much their health care is in US dollars and what their, kind of like satisfaction, enjoyment in life, how often they get sick, all these kind of things. And very quickly you realize the people that spend the least amount on food, are the healthiest. But the food they're eating is super healthy and flavorful. Mm-hmm. That makes sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is
so
there
think
any...
like,
Yep, go ahead.
Oh. No, it's her birthday today.
Hey, it's my birthday.
She didn't even wear her birthday hat, so the whole time you need to go like this. Okay?
I'll let you do that in demonstration.
Hmm.
So, thank you for all the birthday wishes, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm a cool 31. Cool 31 today. So, hey, thank you.
How old do you guys think Holly is today?
I would settle for 18. That's fine. Anything older, I'm not so sure. But you can throw some things out there if you like.
So eating healthy makes you look younger. So Holly does not look her age. I literally thought she was 10 years younger than she really was, right? And then my neighbors the other day, we were having drinks on the porch and talking, and they thought I was about 10 years younger than I am. And then I was talking to a friend at Mindful class, and she mentioned she had a kid, and I was like, what the hell is she talking about? And I thought she was like 20, and she was like double that. Like, that's insane. So people, just in this last week, I've met several people that are just like, they look like 10 years younger.
Fountain of youth, lifestyle. I don't know if I did anything right or not, but I would be fine. I'm fine being transparent, everybody. I'm 41 today. 4-1. So I passed the 40 mark. I'm okay now. I have survived turning 40.
Is that a plus or minus 3
Now
years?
we are truly over the hill. What?
I thought you were my age.
I am not your age.
And one of the guys we're having dinner or lunch with after Mindful class, I thought he was 10 years younger or 15 years younger, maybe 10 years younger than he really was. That was the weirdest thing. I think people that do mindfulness are younger.
You never know. Those mind body practices are good for you, though.
Yeah.
On the challenge, real quick, do you want to go talk about updates on how we're doing? And anybody else, if you have done something this week, if you chose something this week to work on, even if you're not doing the challenge, let's just put it out there, throw it out there, what you're working on, or what you chose to work on this week, and to add to your healthy lifestyle, whether that is physical activity or nutrition or something mindful or social activity, or you even went to the doctor. Let us know what you're doing.
Dr. Pepper?
You went to see Dr. Garrett. Let us know what you're doing.
So what about, so two of my goals were to drink less water than I usually do and to not get much exercise. And I accomplished it, so I feel like that was a success. I feel like it's good.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I don't want to brag.
If at first you don't succeed, lower your expectations.
That's right.
That is the key to success.
If it was not for lowered expectations, men would never be able to get married. Nobody. You know what men use for protection? Their personalities.
Oh,
you see that?
Yeah.
So this week, I had a crazy stressful week. Did you know that? Horribly stressful. Crazy stressful.
Okay.
I hide it, right?
Right.
Oh, I should be smiling, but, there'd be tears of a clown.
Okay.
So, I literally went to the ice cream section. I was getting groceries, and I went to the ice cream section. I was looking for, because I can't have almond milk anymore. So I threw that out.
Yeah, see, everybody who's just joining, Dr. G did the IgG food sensitivity test, and that tests over 100 foods.
184.
Almost 200 foods. And he got a blow last week.
Yeah, it's like most of my food.
Yeah.
Bull crap.
So he's been working on that.
But I was going to cheat. So I've been doing really good without cheating, right? Really, really good. I haven't been doing tons of exercise, but I've been eating super healthy. And I've been no wheat, no dairy, no sugar, no junk food, no fast food, no sodas, no nothing, right? But the other night I did drink beer. So that has gluten in it. And it has wheat. What was a Buddha, Happy Buddha? It might be a rice beer. I don't know. So I did that, and I had scotch. And I had red wine. And I drank those in succession.
And then he had a hangover.
No, I didn't get sick.
The next day.
So then, and then we had the 80s dance. If you guys went to the 80s prom, which I posted, I danced for 4 hours, which was exercise. But I drank a Zima, which is, oh shoot, that probably counts as sugar. Because that's like a wine cooler. Zima is a super weak beer.
Okay.
Does that count? That's bad.
So that's 4 or 5 alcoholic drinks.
Yeah.
So anyway, can we get to the point on this story?
Oh. So that's my cheats. So that wasn't so bad. So then that was my cheats for the whole week. And then I went and I was struggling really hard because I had just a ton of stress and I was just emotionally just exhausted and I was just like, screw it. I'm going to get a healthy ice cream and just like a little pint and just eat my fillings like I used to, but in a little bit healthier way, right? But they had no rice milk ice cream. So I can't do coconut, couldn't do almond, I can't do dairy. And so I kept going through this stupid thing looking for any label that was not those three things.
You will get good at finding the right stores for your food choices. Has anybody found their favorite stores? Because if you are at the wrong store at the wrong time and you're struggling with food sensitivities, that can be a problem. So I've gotten pretty good at knowing what I can get where.
Yeah. And a bag of nuts. I carried them around. I even took them to, there's that movie in the alley where we watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And instead of popcorn or anything, I had my bag of mixed nuts. And I had them in my pocket.
Excellent.
Yeah. Even took them to the dance.
Hey, thank you for sharing what some other people are doing. Trish is doing apple cider vinegar every day. Is that, I'm going to assume, Trish, that's organic, like a Bragg's apple cider vinegar, fermented. I guess vinegar's...
Now, why, though? So,
Yeah.
2 minutes before you eat is just as effective as metformin for lowering blood sugar, because sugars that naturally occur in fruits and vegetables, they actually bind to fiber, right? 80% of those will bind to fiber and feed your gut bacteria. But they will also bind to acids. So like kombucha, apple cider vinegar.
It's a good choice.
But why is she doing that?
I don't know, but I'm going to go through and kind of talk about a few other goals and then that people are mentioning, and then I thought maybe we could get started on some of our topic.
Straight up.
So Sarah is doing some form of exercise 4 days a week. That is great, Sarah. How are you guys managing your goals? Are you doing fairly well on them?
Yeah, Sarah Young is kicking butt.
All right, Sarah, good job. Let's see. Carolyn is going to get her blood test done for food sensitivity, so she's excited to see what's going to happen with that. You'll have to let us know, Carolyn, how that turns out.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Let's see. Do we have anybody else? Yes, organic, Trish says. And we've got Heather's taking her supplements regularly.
Well, that's good, especially your B vitamins.
Sometimes that can be tough, those supplements. Figure out ways to, if you're, I think about this a lot just because supplements can be expensive. And if you struggle with that at all, think about also how do you get those things from your food, and supplementing then in with food.
Beans,
if
greens,
you have to.
And fermented foods. So you know the best way to extend the life of like your B vitamins is you take a spoon and crush it like this into a powder, and then you scoop it into another spoon and bend it like this, and then you heat it up with like a butane lighter. Mm-hmm. That has to be like 3,000 BTUs.
Right.
And then you put a little liquid in there, and it'll start to like tar up, and then you add a little bit more water with that, mix it up, put a cotton ball in there, then you get your syringe, right?
Right.
And then you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
No?
Right.
That's not how you do it?
Every show. Every show.
Every show?
Every show.
Okay, or you can just take them orally. I don't know.
So you can either choose to believe that or choose not to believe that. If I were you, I would maybe lean on the latter. So, Tim's asking, how often should we drink kombucha? Oh,
so that's a really good question. So every country has a fermented food that they eat on a regular basis. And then on the wellness challenges, it's one of the things is to eat fermented foods. Which, by the way, Beautiful Day Cafe, holy crap.
They have, is it kimchi or just fermented cabbage?
Kimchi. And it's super mild. So if you're like kimchi is too strong for you, that kimchi at Beautiful Day Cafe is great. So I always get like a bean burger with no bun and then kimchi on the side.
So as far as fermentation goes, it's not just kombucha then. It's fermented vegetables. You can look for those in stores as well.
So Bubby's brand of pickles is fermented. And so like you'll eat the pickles and you have like $400 worth of supplements in the bottom of that. And the potency of a fermented food versus probiotic is like 10 to 1. Like it's very, very potent.
Are there diverse strands of probiotics in the foods?
Well, so like fermented foods will have just a handful. Okay. Like you need 750 different species. You get those just from everything around you, right? It's all good. You know, you want all that kind of stuff that they tell you to stay away from. You want all that good bacteria. So that you get most of it from your environment. But there's a handful that are really potent ones that we need to get on a regular basis because we use chlorinated water, fluoridated toothpaste, and mouthwash, and sodas, and junk food, and sugar. We basically mess that all up, and then, of course, antibiotics. So with, like, kombucha, like, back to this question, you know, if you drink just, like, a quarter of a cup every day, that's probably enough. And, you know,
do you think that would be as good as, say, taking a supplement?
No, they're just it's two different things with very little overlap. Okay. So long term, you know, short term, if someone's really suffering, they need probiotics because you can get like 33 strains to up to 38, 39 strains. But with about 12 to 15 that are critical ones. But if they do fermented, like a kombucha only has 5 beneficial bacteria typically and 10 beneficial yeast, but it has 20 beneficial acids in it, which regulates who can live in the gut. And so it's pretty kick butt, but it's a limited amount of things.
Yeah.
So.
And when we're talking about fermented things or things with probiotics, the first thing we're not talking about is yogurt.
Yeah, not yogurt. Yogurt's like one bacteria with all the risk of dairy.
And so there's a lot of sugar in yogurts as well.
Yeah.
So typically a lot of people, that's the first thing they think of if they haven't delved into this realm of probiotics yet. So something to be mindful of. Speaking of that, since that has things to avoid, our show tonight is talking about the part of our challenge where the foods on our challenge that we're trying to avoid, and we were going to speak to those.
Yeah.
Dr. Garrett primarily is going to speak to those. Anyway, let us know while he's speaking about that, what foods are you currently avoiding, just so we can have a read on that. What are you currently avoiding?
And these are pretty universal things. The first one is like corn-fed meat, corn-fed chicken, corn-fed fish.
So why corn-fed? I've never heard that before. Why corn-fed meat, chicken, fish?
Because we hate Nebraska and Iowa and all the corn producers. We want those countries, or those
countries. You are from Texas, aren't you?
Texas is a country. All right. So we want the North to fail so the South can rise again and get beat again, I guess. So with corn-fed, basically what you want is grass-fed, grass-finished, wild-caught, free-range animals that run around and eat where the hell they want to eat. And that's usually our kind of preliminary of like, we know those are healthy ones, right?
Well, why is corn bad?
So corn is highly inflammatory and genetically modified. So used to it.
Is it always genetically modified no matter what?
Corn, no. No, most of it. Most of it is.
So say organic corn-fed cow.
Well, so the organic part is one, but it's also very inflammatory because of high omega-6s. And so in nature, you want like a 1-to-1 ratio for inflammation to anti-inflammation. So omega-3, omega-6 balance in foods. And when you get wild animals, that's kind of how it is. Maybe a 2-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to 3. A little inflammation. Kind of gets us bigger, better, faster, stronger. Mm-hmm. But Americans eat 40 times the inflammatory omega-6s than the omega-3s. Okay. And so we're 40 times more likely to be more inflamed, in constant pain, have hypertension, irregular heartbeats, and have more clotting, which is more heart attacks and strokes. And that's exactly the population we are. And so as Americans, we switched, because 1970s we had that food shortage. And so then they said, well, we'll never have this again. So they subsidized corn, and it became dirt cheap to feed animals corn. And so we just started doing it because it's profit. And so then we started eating very inflammatory meat, very inflammatory fish, chicken, beef, all that stuff.
And that inflammatory issue is what causes that damage to your body and to your tissues, to the vessels, to the arteries.
Yeah, so just like we said a long time ago, all disease, and we probably said this several times through several shows, but all inflammation, or all disease is inflammation. Even Virchow back in the early, I think, 1800s said that. So that's a big part of it. Yeah. So we sorry.
Are you drinking something that's on your ITG food list?
Okay, because I cough at the green tea.
Is it green?
No, it says God dang it.
Uh-oh. Direct evidence.
It's fusion. I thought it was white tea because I switched from green tea to white tea.
Okay. So green tea is on his list of things he can't have, and we've accidentally ingested that tonight.
And that's where I get that cough from. So coffee used to only do that to me, but that's why I did that food test, because there were several other things They're triggering it. And that's a freaking messed up thing because you're eating something, drinking something healthy, and yet it's causing a chronic problem.
Right. That's why it's so important. It's one thing to try doing the healthy things that are touted throughout the media or the nation or wherever that you're hearing it from. You can try all those things, but if you're still having trouble, you really need to get this test done.
Dang it.
And figure it out. Go a little bit further. So I have one question for you on from one of our audience on probiotics, real quick.
Yeah.
Is pickled and fermented different?
Yeah. So pickled is
Hi,
where...
Newman. Sorry.
Yeah, we always do that, Newman. Newman has a way of like...
Newman loves us. Nobody else really loves us as much as Newman.
So, pickled, I believe, is heated up, and so I think that's killed.
Okay.
But fermented is alive. And so, like, when you ferment something, you put a little lid on... Stupid green tea. All right. So you put the lid on there, and then you have a little air trap. You put a little water in there, so air can go out but not in. And it just uses the natural bacteria and yeast that's living on that vegetable.
Okay, so it's not the salt that kills the critters, it's the heat.
Right. Yeah, because in fermented stuff, we use salt, like 2 tablespoons or 1 tablespoon of salt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Kellyanne, does that answer your question?
And Kellyanne just made her own something the other day and posted it. What did she make? You're going to have to post that, because it was pretty cool. Can't remember what it is now.
Hi, Jen. Thanks for jumping in. Yes, I've been working today on my birthday.
See, I wouldn't work on my birthday. Because my birthday is the days after Jesus' birthday.
No, it just sort of, there's so much to do, and I'm enjoying what we do. And so, I'm still doing the things I enjoy.
Well, this ain't work.
So, I did work today at the Y, by the way, but too, I also worked there as well.
I know.
So, anyway, so okay, so corn-fed beef, chicken, and pork. How do we know when it's corn-fed? Where does that say that on the label?
So it probably won't.
So how do we know?
So there's, in Kansas and in most states, there's legal terms that are protected.
Okay.
So grass-fed is one, but grass-fed can still go to the feedlot for the last 6 months and get corn and antibiotics. So grass-fed by itself doesn't really mean healthy, but grass-fed, grass-finished means only grass-fed, or 100% grass-fed, no antibiotics.
Okay. So it's not going to say corn-fed, but you need to look for grass-fed. Hey, Kyle. Thanks for joining us.
What's up, Kyle?
If we didn't say hi to you, we're saying hi now. If we missed you.
Yeah.
So.
She tries to say hi to each and every person.
Yeah, I want everybody to feel important.
And then when you guys leave, you guys should leave one at a time, and she'll be like, was it, goodbye, 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 goodbye.
Okay.
So that's where those legal terms. So wild caught. So what's funny, because like when I was in college, we'd eat salmon, which was healthy, right? And then the salmon at the deli started turning white, and I remember Melanie saying, "Oh my gosh, what the hell's wrong with this?" And I didn't know any of this stuff back then. I was in college, like they don't teach us any of this. And then all of a sudden, like months later, I remember her saying, "Oh my God, it's back to pink again. It's fine." And what really happened during that time was that when you took corn and fed it to salmon, it doesn't have the red pigment like astaxanthin or astaxanthin that turns red and then stains the meat. So the meat wouldn't be stained pink anymore. So the salmon turned white. But we're Americans and we problem solve. See what we did?
What did we do?
What do you think we did?
I have no idea. Please tell us.
You don't know this story?
I can't say that I know everything.
All right. So we took coal tar, made red food coloring. So we took petroleum, made red food coloring, and then we dyed the corn red, and then we made pink salmons again.
Wow.
That were corn-fed. So they look like wild salmon.
So lately I've been seeing wild caught everywhere, like
Yeah.
even on some of just the regular labels that you wouldn't expect.
Like
Can I trust that? Can we trust that? Because I've been buying a lot more salmon lately, and sometimes I buy it in the easy to go, easy open packets, and it says wild caught.
Are you talking about Tinder? Like it says free range guys.
No.
No, wild caught guys.
I only like the wild caught guys.
All right.
No, can you trust that?
Yes.
That's a legal term.
So it's, yeah. Can't drink that. So stick with the legal terms, yeah, and you're cool. So wild caught, free range. Now something like grass fed probably means corn fed, because, or sorry, no.
No.
Cage free.
Cage
free you see a lot for eggs, but cage free does not mean healthy. So it's not a legal term that protects anything. It's one giant cage with a whole bunch of corn feeders.
So what do you want to look for in eggs?
Eggs are a little hard. So, you know, sometimes you'll see vegetarian fed.
Free range?
You want free range eggs. Yeah.
Okay.
But some of the free range stuff I see says vegetarian fed. And
right,
so,
I've seen a lot of that too.
So that means corn, because chickens are not vegetarians. Chickens will eat meat. Chicken will eat a person.
But what do you want? Does it matter if a chicken eats corn? We know that it matters.
Yeah, so when the animal eats that omega-3 fatty acid, it becomes part of their omega-3, or part of their fatty acids. Wait, I say omega-3. When they eat that inflammatory omega-6 from the corn, it stores in their fat. And then we eat their fat. So even if you eat lean meat, it's still 19% fat. That's 1 out of 5 molecules that you're consuming is either inflammation or anti-inflammation.
What is a chicken's ideal diet?
Bugs, grass, and dead animals. Or I guess not dead animals, because they eat mice and snakes.
Okay. They're omnivores.
And people.
And people. I've heard about that guy who got killed by that chicken.
Yeah. Well, you remember, well, what about all Family Guy?
Because Family Guy that's a reality show. That's the closest thing to a reality show I have ever watched.
That was my favorite episode.
Okay, so
all
we
right.
talked about beef. Guys, if you have questions about anything, please type those in.
What about pork?
Trudy, yes, your salmon from Alaska is pink and red. That's good.
Nice.
Yeah, we want salmon from Alaska.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
And then pork isn't a recommendation at all, because pork is one of those meats you have to cook fully through. And do you guys know why you can't eat a medium rare pork steak? Yeah.
I have no idea. Eggs, maggots.
What?
I don't know. Bacteria.
Because of parasites.
Parasites.
Yeah.
Tapeworms. Can you get a tapeworm from?
If you have 2 glasses, is that a parasite?
Sad.
2? No? So in jungle medicine or tropical medicine, if you have parasites in your skin, they'll take bacon or cuts of ham and wrap it around.
No.
Yeah, they do this. And then the parasites are drawn into the ham, and then they take that and they throw it in the fire. And hopefully don't eat it. Now, if they're Americans, they'll go, oh, there's bacon!
You have just alienated all bacon eaters.
Yeah, no, bacon
We're
people
sorry.
Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter what you say about pork. Bacon people are still going to eat bacon.
They're going to eat it, but they might not watch our show.
Bacons are made of babies. But it sure tastes good. That's what they're going to say. What about wrapping bacon with bacon? I don't know what the hell. Bacon's got to be the like, I don't know. It seems like we're being duped. Like, everywhere else, you're like, I'm not buying that T-bone. Look how much fat's on there. But it's like, oh, bacon. Well, good. It's like 5% meat, 90% fat. I'll pay a premium for that.
And you
Who
forgot
does that?
the percentage of parasites.
Yeah, no, the parasites. So there's a lot of parasites that are in pork that are heat stable. And when they're in their cysts, they can actually survive that heat and that cooking. So even if it's well done, you could still end up with parasites. And one of the really cool things is to look online, look on Google, parasite, brain cancer, Florida. And there's a video of a neurosurgeon and he's looking in a woman's brain, and he's trying to figure out where the cancer is, but they can't find it, and something in there moves, and then he pulls this worm out of this woman's brain, and then he's like, this is from pork.
Newman says he always knew that bacon was a health food.
You see people changing
what are
the channel.
What are the chances? We cook it up. I know you said they're heat stable, but how often does that really happen? Come on.
So the CDC says that 1 out of every 2 Americans has a parasite in them.
Well, we're covered in bacteria. Why would we not have a parasite too?
Bacteria kills parasites. Well, what?
What's the definition of a parasite? Like a digestive parasite?
That was 2 glasses. Parasites.
So if 1 out of 2 of us has a parasite, where is the parasite?
It's in your gut or your muscles. Most of them end up in your gut, but they can get it in your blood, your brain. They want to eat. They want to eat very nutritious things, so they want to steal as much nutrition. So that's why the brain is particularly yummy for them, because it's just all fat.
Okay.
Lots of good calories. Yeah.
So don't think about that if you decide to eat pork. I love pork sausage. I do.
You'll just cook it super well done, and then eat green walnuts.
Why green walnuts?
Because that's what they make black walnut tincture out of, and that kills parasites.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But That being said, now most pigs have parasites because they're in a pen the size of my desk for their whole life. Like 97, 98% of all pigs. There's a real good book called Piggy Tail that came out a few years ago, and so that's kind of messed up. So if you just put an animal in their own filth, they're going to get parasites, right? I mean, if you put any animal where they're pooping and peeing and eating in the same place and sleeping, they're going to get parasites.
Right.
So there is Applewood. I think it's Applewood
Farms,
something like that. That's at like Target and health food stores, and they're free range pigs. Now, if you're going to eat ham, free range pigs theoretically would be fine.
Okay.
Because the parasites, I don't think, are really truly.
So we're causing the parasite problem.
Yeah, we cause it.
Okay.
I mean, if we did that with cat, that's
just like we're causing the inflammation problem with the corn-fed.
Right. So just like feedlots, there's a type of bacteria in feedlots called E. coli 0157H7, which kills children every single year in the United States. And the reason is they put all these cows in a big giant feedlot, and so they all poop and pee and walk and sleep in the same place. And so they eventually end up with huge amounts of this parasite, especially when you feed the animal corn versus grass. That parasite just that bacteria just flourishes. Whereas if they switch that animal back to a grass-fed, grass-finished diet, within 2 weeks, 80% of that bacteria dies down. Okay. And so we create this E. coli 0157H7, and that's when you see all these massive recalls of things getting recalled. Uh-huh. It's that bacteria almost always. Okay. And so what they do is they take all that feedlot poop and then they spray it on crops, and then people eat salsa and they get food poisoning. If they're a child, they eat a hamburger and they end up making their kidneys bleed and then they die. Delicious. No. That's terrible. I am ashamed. Okay. I'm writing a letter to the commissioner.
Jackie says Applegate. Applegate. Applegate is the name of the company.
I thought it was a controversy.
No, like Watergate. Watergate, yeah. It's Piggygate.
Yeah, Applegate. Thank you.
So let's talk about processed meats. Yeah. Processed meats.
So like pink slime?
I don't want to talk about it because I've lived on them my entire life. Yeah. But
okay, so tell us. How many of you guys, like me, when you guys went on trips and stuff, your mom packed potted meat?
We didn't even have to go on trips. We had potted meat at home.
That was some ghetto stuff. Oh my God.
Spam?
We ate spam. We ate fried spam, fried bologna.
Yeah.
I don't know how I survived. I don't. It's so crazy. Like we now have, I guess it's more sugar than all that crap, but you know, America now has more obese people than they have overweight people, which, hey, we did it, right? We broke a record.
We win.
But good Lord, if we were still eating fried bologna and stuff today, like we get white bread, mayonnaise, fried bologna, mayonnaise, cheese, and then, it's bad.
Yeah.
So processed meat. So what's interesting about processed meat is how many of you guys know what meat gluing is?
Meat gluing. Well, yes. I used to cut meat out in construction paper and glue that down on other construction paper. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly
As a child, I used to cut out steaks.
I like how you're
no.
meat gluing. You're like, what's that?
Yeah. It's just odd. Who says that?
Meat gluing.
Who says meat gluing?
So with meat gluing, what you do is you take scrap meat that you can't sell, right?
And some Elmer's glue.
And then you take tissue transglutaminase.
Or that.
And it's a powder, and you sprinkle it, and don't worry, it's derived from pig's blood, so it's cool. And then you take that and compress that pig's blood extract for 2 to 4 hours, and you get one solid piece of meat. So what I'd like to do, I got to find out how to do this, but I'd like to make a whole person out of glued together meat, like a meat person. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, that'd be really awesome.
Be like Pate Pat.
No.
That's not cool.
So you're talking about the kind of meat that you get at the deli.
Right. So when I worked at the deli, I don't want to brag, but I worked in the deli, right, through college. And there I get my turkey breast, put it in the slicer, slice that up, have big old slices of chicken and turkey breast and ham. And it never once occurred to me that there was no meat that big on any of those animals. I just kept wondering, where the hell's that bone at? Like I was like, how did they get the bone out? Why is there not a hole where the bone would be? But I never thought of like, I mean, this meat's bigger than a whole chicken, right? I never thought of that stuff.
Can you get deli meat that is not meat glued? And where?
Well,
can you get that at Dillon's?
No. So, they call it, I think they have stuff now, it's called the carver table or something like that. But typically what I do is
what would it look like?
It'll be misshapen.
Okay.
So that's the first thing is, when I was a kid and we had deli meat, it was all different shapes and sizes and stuff because it was just sliced regular meat. But now they make glue, we can have uniform pieces of meat. Well, what's messed up about this is that if you glue together meat, that tissue transglutaminase is what celiac patients respond to. That's what that kills them. And that's what non-celiac gluten sensitivity patients can actually
react to?
Yeah, react to. You have huge problems. So nobody thinks like, oh, I'm gluten-free, so I'm not eating bread on my sandwich. But they're still getting gluten.
Okay.
Or, well, they're still getting tissue transglutaminase.
What about the person who doesn't have any of these issues that they know of, and they're eating this?
Well, so then you have the other side of this is if you take outside meat and you put it inside and you glue it together, you have a huge risk of food poisoning. But we're problem solvers, right? We're going to overcome this.
We're going to bathe it in bleach.
Oh, they do ammonia now.
Okay.
But before that, we put nitrates in there. And nitrate extracts are cancer-causing agents. And so the World Health Organization came out last year and said that American processed meat was now more toxic for causing cancer than smoking a cigarette.
I thought sitting was the new smoking.
Man, people tripping. Playing Grand Theft Auto with your friends is the new thing.
So we didn't plan for this show to be anti-meat, just so you know.
Oh, there's good meat, though.
There is good meat.
Yeah.
That's right.
So there's the kind of, think of meat as like guys, right? There's kind of meat that meets your parents, says nice things, pulls out your chair, right? And then there's meat that runs up bills on your credit card and steals your cash out of your wallet and dates your sister, right? That's processed meat. Yeah?
Back to the boy analogies.
So those nitrates are horribly, horribly toxic. So that then takes us back to, say, how to make your own lunch meat if you want to. And you can take, turkey breast, roast it, and then take it back to the deli and they'll slice it up for you. And then you would have like really thin deli meat that's non-toxic, not glued together, no nitrates, all those wonderful things.
Okay.
So there's one more question with that then, I'm sure.
With what?
With nitrate-free meat. Because now on labels you see no nitrates except that which naturally occurs through celery juice. which I thought, okay, that's probably okay. But guess what?
We don't like those nitrates either.
It's not okay. So I read
Okay.
studies the other day where basically it doesn't matter whether it's artificial nitrates or whether it's cellular juice nitrates, the nitrates are still going to be cancer-causing agents for us.
Okay.
And the average, now the studies came out and they keep replicating, and they say same thing, which is people who eat more than 12 servings of processed meat a month have astronomically higher risks of blood cancer and other cancers.
Okay.
So
inflammation and cancer are two biggies.
Yeah.
So we have about 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to some of the other things that we should avoid?
What about sugar?
Sugar.
Sugar?
Does anybody want to talk about sugar? Anybody who's still with us?
That's the easiest one, right? It's the easiest one to avoid.
Sugar is the hardest one to avoid, I think.
Is it? Why?
Because it's in everything.
Yeah. Since 1990, they add sugar to all kinds of new stuff because it increases your likelihood to be addicted to that food and buy more of it. Because sugar is more addicting than crack cocaine.
I believe that. Okay, so we've been talking about this challenge, and a couple of weeks ago, I fell off the good food wagon and crash and decided I was going to go ahead and be okay with sugar. Maybe not dairy or wheat, but sugar. Let's do sugar. I'm not kidding you. I was craving that sugar for days and days and days and days. Like I just felt like I needed more. I needed more. And yeah, it was really powerful. It was kind of powerful to notice too when you've been off of it for a while and then it happens, you notice it more than you would normally. So
I remember our pastor one year, he gave up sugar, and like, I don't know, it was 3 or 4 months later, I saw him walking on the jogging trail, and I was like, holy crap, you look great. That's all he did was give up sugar. But sugar is addiction.
Start with soda.
Soda.
Giving up soda or pop.
Yeah.
Real quick, can I jump in? Has anybody else had technological problems tonight? We had quite a few people last week with tech issues. We've got one person this week. Let us know if you're having tech issues so we can continue. Huh?
The screen got like a little darker a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Can
everybody see us okay? We've got a like. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So sugar. So what are some of the detriments of sugar? So diabetes, obesity.
Diabetes is my feeties.
We've got that diabesity.
Yeah.
Leading to that inflammation, the damage to the tissues, which then leads to our heart problems. Just all connected. Dang it.
I know.
Right?
So we went from a nation that ate no added sugar to a nation that eats about 160 pounds added sugar. And what's really interesting is I give patients a list of like 50 different names for sugar. And a lot of those are things that aren't considered sugar but rapidly break down into sugar. And so on a label, a lot of times you'll see, well, you might have sugar on there once, but sugar's actually in there 7 other times.
Yeah.
So.
Can you speak to Carolyn is asking about stevia?
Yeah.
Is stevia okay?
Well, Stevia Wonder is a great singer.
That's his sister you're talking about?
Oh, Stevia is
Stevie's sister.
Stevie's sister.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you need to get with the program.
All right.
Okay.
So stevia is really good. As far as, make sure it's only stevia, not Reb A and other stuff in there. But stevia can actually increase your sensitivity to sugar dramatically, which then, or to sweetness, which then makes you eat more things to achieve that sweetness, so then people will gain weight. And so even though it has no calories in it, because it messes up the neurochemistry of the brain and the sensation from the tongue, it ends up causing people to get fatter if they use it a lot over time. The only thing I have that has stevia is I drink those kombucha lime sodas, which are fantastic, and they have some stevia in there. But otherwise... So
it's the lesser of the evils,
yes.
But really we're just kind of enabling that sugar, the taste.
Yeah.
Liking the taste of that sugar.
Because it still draws you towards that. And that's one of those things of once you get off sugar and you're just like, hey, things taste normal to me. like that's a whole different world. It's like that sense of evenness that people have instead of sugar and crash and sugar and crash. And you'll still have that kind of sensation with stevia because you end up crashing because of that too, even though it's not glycemic. People then tend to eat differently because of that, and they'll tend to eat more glycemic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have soda, I'm noticing here on your list.
Soda.
Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, soda most people should know, but it's like 12, 16 teaspoons of sugar. And so I thought about that once, right? If you took a cup and you sat there and went 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, 3 teaspoons, 4 teaspoons, 5 teaspoons, and you did that for 16 teaspoons, you'd just be like, holy crap, what the hell am I drinking?
Right.
And that's where even like diet soda should be on here too.
Can you speak to, because I have found this statistic so compelling, to what 1 teaspoon does to the immune system?
Yeah, so 4 grams of sugar or 1 teaspoon can suppress your T cells' ability to do their job for up to 30 minutes. And that means like recognizing cancer and recognizing your own cells. So basically the opposite ends of the same coin, which is autoimmune and cancer. Plus sugar feeds cancer directly. So it's kind of messed up because it'll feed cancer and it prevents you from recognizing that cancer.
Yeah, so don't suppress your immune system if you can help it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to remember, I get to hear all these statistics and then you just forget. One day you just forget about it and you kind of fall off the wagon, and you have to keep reminding yourself of these things. So yeah, that's an important one. We have a couple of questions about salad dressing from a couple of people. What do you use for salad dressing?
So you want to stay away from genetically modified oils. You want to stay away from inflammatory oils. So your main salad dressings are things, like Newman's Own has some healthy ones. Annie's has some healthy ones.
What about just vinegar and oil?
Yeah, olive oil and vinegar is perfectly fine. Usually you need an oil, an acid, and a sweet to make a salad dressing.
Okay.
So that's where like raspberry vinaigrette. You have raspberry pureed, and you have a vinegar like balsamic, and then you have or white balsamic, and then you have an oil like olive oil, and then you make a nice dressing. Most people are pretty intimidated with the idea of making dressings, but I did that on my cooking show when I was on that Channel 43, and I made 3 or 4 different ones. And it was one of those things like it's very intimidating, so I like to do things that I'm challenged on, and it was pretty damn simple, and they last forever in your fridge just like regular salad dressings because of the acid in there.
Okay. So what about if you were going to add the sugar in, would you just add a fruit or a juice?
Right. Well, not a juice, but maybe a puree or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And at worst, maybe a little bit of juice, but juice is just sugar.
I find too that just over time that I don't need the sweetness as much. The further I get away from it, the less I really need it. So.
And like hummus is a good salad dressing by itself, or guacamole.
Well,
I love that on a salad.
Or just put the fruit on your salad.
Oh, that's right.
So you've got oil and vinegar, and just add berries or grapes or whatever it is to the salad, and it all mixes together.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
And if you guys email me or you put on their question like, hey, about the salad dressings, I have 18 salad dressing things that you can make from scratch, from like a creamy, healthy ranch dressing to all the way to like a cool hummus dressing. But I can send you guys those recipes also. They're not mine, so I copied them from other places, put them together for patients. But yeah, that helps because all salad dressings in large amounts become marinades. And so it's basically a duplicity there.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We got a little over 5 minutes. Do you want to speak to anything else before we do takeaways?
Well, so bread and crackers, coffee, that's pretty similar. But one of the things is artificial colors, flavors, and MSG. And literally, these things make us dumb. Makes our kids dumb. We're now the 25th smartest country in the world. Slavic children are smarter than American children by age 15. And back in the 1960s, right before that, we were the smartest country in the world. We started using artificial colors and flavors and MSG. it decreased our brain function, and we suddenly dropped down our IQs, and we have never recovered.
Artificial colors, flavors, and MSG.
So artificial colors and flavors come from coal tar, which is the first chemical used to cause cancer in a laboratory setting. And if we take that coal tar, we can make colors and flavors. Now, the rest of the world doesn't do this because they use real things, but America does this because it is dirt cheap.
Where do people, so let's say we couldn't speak to this and we didn't have too much time to go into all of it, but tonight, if someone wants to start avoiding those, how do they do it? Do they need a list, or do they just go with the whole foods?
Well, yeah, anytime it has a color on the label, you know.
Okay.
But something like vanillin will be on there, but vanillin is not vanilla, so that's artificial. Mapleine is not maple. The bee honey one, that's a big one too. They make artificial honey. And artificial butter, even at the factory on that book, Twinkie Deconstructed, it says they put harmful is swallowed on the side of the container.
Wow. So basically, you're avoiding, you want the less ingredients, the better, if you don't know what to look for.
Yeah.
Or go with just whole foods.
Right. And one of the things is other countries, if we use these food colorings made from coal tar, other countries, if they use that, they have a warning label on them like cigarettes. It says, if you eat this candy, research shows you will get ADD or ADHD, right? Like in other countries, we know what we're doing to our brains, and we warn people about it like cigarettes. Here, we say it's part of a healthy diet. But there's a study in 2010 where they literally gave a pregnant mom, animal, food coloring in specific amounts, and they could predict the babies would come out retarded, hyperactive, inattentive, like literally cause this. And like yellow food coloring decreases brain neurite growth by 3,000%. Blue was by 5,000%. So put those two together, you get green for 8,000%. MSG by itself decreases brain neurite growth by 8,000%. And someone challenged me on this, so I did more research, and it got even worse because MIT says that the minute MSG crosses the blood-brain barrier, it causes instant brain cell death.
Wow.
So we're literally dumbing down our population. And if you feel dumb and slow and your brain's not working, you're not going to get healthy. It's going to be super hard. So we want to cut that crap out.
I have a couple of questions.
Word.
Ashley's asking, I'm going to give you both questions now. Ashley's asking, are natural flavors okay, like in drinks? And then Pandora's also asking for good alternatives to everyday snacks like goldfish that she could send with her kids.
Yeah, okay.
So natural flavors.
So natural flavors, if they don't tell you what's in there, often it's a bad thing. It usually means MSG or fake stuff. And that's usually a warning sign right off the bat. I've had stuff that said natural flavors and nothing really happened. I've had stuff that it kicked my butt. And so a lot of times people are constantly eating those things all the time. But, if you look at something like a taco meat seasoning, and you're just like, well, how am I supposed to make taco meat without this, but even though it has this bad stuff in there? But just now it's beautiful. Go to Epicurious or go on Google and just put how to make my own taco seasoning, and it's just chili and cumin and like salt and pepper and a couple other things. It's so easy now to make your own stuff. And so you don't have to put up with those chemicals. And we had one patient that they had, I can't remember the brand, but it was a seasoning packet, nothing bad in it. They've always been fine. And then they started having problems. And they thought, could it be this natural flavor? Well, so I did research on this patient for about a week, and come to find out they had switched what they were doing with the ingredients. And so suddenly natural flavors went to actually a harmful thing to them. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of freaking messed up. The other thing is with like Pandora, I have 4 kids too, so this became a huge chore. But all I kept thinking in the morning was fruit, vegetable, nut, seed, berry, legume, and green. So the coolest thing or the most helpful thing I ever saw was somebody had an ice tray, and they had some berries and some strawberries or some blueberries, strawberries, a piece of apple, some nuts, some seeds, and a little bit of lettuce. They just had a little bit of everything in there. And basically it was like fruit, vegetable, nut, seed, berry, legumes, and greens. And I thought, that's brilliant, right? It's not a meal, like, you're going to get judged for that maybe, but it's real and it's super healthy for them.
But how did they transport it? Like, she's talking about sending them snacks to
Right.
go at school.
So, like, we just do all our stuff. We always have mixed nuts and mixed seeds together. We always have, like, cutie oranges or handheld fruits that they can eat. Carrots, carrot sticks, that kind of stuff. And that's been super easy. So even with me, I mean, I carry around a bag of mixed nuts so I don't get hungry, so I don't make bad mistakes. And so for kids, it's a matter of kind of packing those simple things. And even fruit leather or fruit roll-ups, you can make super easy from, there's a kombucha one you can make and there's a regular one you can make. But it's just don't add the sugar.
Well, and I was going to say there's always, you could do the dried fruits, but you can get into trouble with dried fruits too, like raisins and cranberries. Right. And things like that. It can just become high in sugar if you're eating a lot of those.
Right, and they add crap to it. Now, raisins are perfect. Raisins are great because they don't have any added stuff in there, no flavor enhancer, color enhancers, nothing. So that's really good. But I've had a couple patients that when they add like dried raspberries or cranberries or craisins, that suddenly they start having problems. And I had the same thing when I did that for my lunches. Okay. When I did that, I started getting brain fog. My vision got a little blurry. That's the only thing that changed, so I got rid of that, went straight back to raisins. Boom, everything got better.
What about an organic popcorn, like non-GMO organic popcorn?
If most of your diet is super healthy.
Because that's kind of snacky.
Yeah. So if most of your diet's super healthy, some organic popcorn is not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do that with our kids too. So, there's times when that's okay, but as long as they're eating lots of really good food, yeah, that's probably okay. If they eat a bunch of crap, probably not okay.
Well, we are right at 8 o'clock, and I've got birthday festivities awaiting.
Birthday at her house.
Birthday festivities and birthday cheats. Although I cheated for lunch today, but my dessert, sort of. Mm-hmm. My dessert was a birthday buckwheat pancake. And it was delicious at Beautiful Day Cafe. Just saying. I'm just saying. Pancakes like cake, right?
Yeah, but
I did okay.
It's a gluten-free one.
Yeah, it's gluten-free. And it was delicious. Really delicious.
Yeah, I love that place.
So, well, thank you for joining us tonight. If you have more questions about foods to avoid, please type those into us. We can continue, if you'd like, with breads and crackers next week. At least finish the list off if you'd like.
No.
We kind of skipped over breads and crackers today, except for the goldfish.
It's the same stuff.
So, if you have questions that we did not address, let us know.
Yep. And next week, we're going to talk about the last part of like the big challenge, and that is hormonal exhaustion. So it's not exhaustion that I have to worry about. It's what are we doing to prevent the exhaustion? Can't talk because I'm exhausted. But right? So
this is really, really interesting, this hormone stuff.
It is.
It's really interesting what we do and what stress does to the body.
Yeah. And I did a home scale, which is like all these things from like divorce and loss of a spouse and someone dying in the family, all the way down to change your neighborhood, those kind of things. And you got to add it up, and then it's like how much stress do you have? And mine was 380 with all the stuff going on in my life. But it says if you're above 300, you have an 80% chance of having a major health problem. But what they don't say is, what if you're doing things to offset that stress?
Right.
And then you don't get sick, right? So that's one of the really interesting things that we'll talk about too. But it's basically how do you make hormones without taking hormones, and mainly how do we stop just exhausting our hormones?
Yeah.
So we'll have some interesting things, and of course, Yoga H over here, she has some good insight in that too.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right, you guys. Thank
anyway,
you for
have a good
attending.
night.
Please like and share this with your friends and family. And otherwise, don't touch that button.